it's going to be for?
Normally about 2 hours.
Okay.
I don't time it. It's whatever happens, happens. If one space is more active than the other, we hang out. If it's not, we move on.
We're free falling, dear. Okay.
That's the way this works. I tell the same histories I do every night. However, if no activity's going on, I move us on pretty quickly. It's boring to hang around these empty spaces.
Yeah. Okay.
So, first device we're going to be using, thermal imaging. So you guys should be able to see me in there, Natalia. Yeah. So I'm kind of going around the room here, so that way everybody can kind of see what we're working with. So this guy is going to, what are we using this for? What do you think?
Heat. Fine.
Not heat.
Cool.
Temperature.
Cold. We're looking for cold spots.
Oh,
right.
Really?
We're literally looking for cold spots. Yes.
Really?
Don't have heat.
Exactly. So, me being the red, orange, and yellow guy in there, and this is going to work out perfectly tonight, means I'm the hottest thing inside the video right now, ladies. So that's supposed to be a joke. Chuckle, chuckle. We're going to have some fun. There we go. Perfect. So, we're looking for blue and black to either start taking shape on its own or to start moving on its own. I normally have... Go ahead. What's the question?
No. Never mind. You answered it.
I'm usually looking for 15-degree temperature drops when I'm spot checking this video. The cool thing about your video that you're going to get back tomorrow morning is there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. You might not be able to see it from where you guys are at now, even though you all have your readers on. But that blue dot is... It's so funny. You guys are like, readers, everybody, get them out. It was so funny.
Old.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
It's
so.
a 50th party, okay?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Whose?
Okay.
Baby sister.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I didn't know what we were celebrating.
Exactly.
I seen 6 ladies on the roster. I'm like, it's got to be a bridal party.
I know, there's so many. We're
I
like
get 'em a
20
lot.
years past that.
Yeah, there you go.
So are the blue dots?
The blue dot. No, the blue dot is measuring the coldest spot in the frame in the moment. So again, that's where it's going to help direct your eye when you're watching your video.
Okay.
So again, I put it there purposely. So it's not even...
Look at the red, don't look at the blue.
Look at
It's going to be tomorrow when we review
right now.
the
Look
footage.
at Nick.
You got it.
It's going to be tomorrow
Now.
when we review our footage.
The person using this also records audio, so it's another point of EVP, which I should stop there. So I'm going to hand this off to Marlo first, so that way she can kind of get used to it. She's going to be the one using this. So this one's going to go to you. You're going to keep this horizontal all night long, and it's already recording. Okay. We're going to do a few starts and stops. As great as the hardware is, the software sucks. We're going to lose footage if we record for too long. I'll give you the cues. Don't worry.
Okay.
So just hold it. There you go. Your hand went right over the camera. Good job. Most people are one-handed with it. Just treat it just like you would a cell phone. Try not to hold it by the camera. It will fall out.
Oh, okay.
I'm
trying to get my husband to take my daughter to work.
Yeah.
He's like,
Super natural. That's fine.
Now,
That's fine.
when I ask for your names, I asked for your guys' names.
Oh, sorry.
I did that over here on purpose because I started a voice recorder on my bag. That's going to be your first point of media coming back to you. So I do that in case I forget somebody's name. Again, I do go up to 11. When I'm maxed out at 9, I'll open it up for one more to come on. But I do that for you guys mainly because you're going to need the weird histories of the places that we're going to. The second thing is you're going to need it to listen for EVPs. So EVPs are electronic voice phenomenon, voices you can't hear with your own ears. In the event while I'm talking right now, something else is coming through, I'm not going to know it because I don't listen to the regular audio. And you're going to give me a whole lot of other media to be able to go through. So if you guys find something, you're all going to have my contact info by the time we separate so you can get in touch with me. So again, this also records audio, so it's another point of reference for EVPs as well. So it's not always going to be picking me up because Marlo's not always going to be standing right by my side. But the voice recorder stays attached to my bag, so that way it records me directly, and it has 2 other microphones going this way, so it can record any voices that might be slipping through. So I just wanted to point that, I forgot to point that out at the beginning, yes.
are we going to ask questions?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
No. I don't know.
Let's get into spirit boxes.
We're not in Texas. What are you guys talking about?
I said it's the grassy knoll.
Yeah, what
we're
is
not
the
in
grassy
Texas.
knoll? What does that mean?
The Kennedy assassination.
Come on.
That was in Texas.
You gotta read the Stephen King book. Oh, geez.
It's still in Texas.
And what was the date again?
So Beth is onto something already.
Yeah,
A Stephen King
right.
fact.
11/22.
So there was a Stephen King reference to
My
this
son's
name.
birthday is 11/24/03.
Oh, that's why you said 24 earlier.
Boom.
We're
My baby trumps.
We're being recorded this whole time.
That's fine. Hello.
I had a whole obsession
Nick-
with
can Nick
JFK
hear us?
assassination, younger, red, every. Yeah. Well,
Spirit boxes.
that happens.
Oh, those are fun.
we're going to be using a couple of different types of spirit boxes. If you're unfamiliar with these, on your TV shows, this is the white noise that they show you, and then your host will tell you what BS he thinks he heard in the middle of it, trying to convince you of the same thing. So I will tell you that those disembodied voices are a rarity. I only capture about 4 or 5 of those a year, not 12 per episode. So again, this is slowed down on purpose. It's allowing the radio chatter. You're getting it anyway. I always look for my chatty Cathy, and obviously this is where this goes. So this is why I had you guys show up early. You guys know that, right? You're all characters to me. I gotta find where's the one that's a little bit timid. Where's my chatty Cathy? Where's the one that was dragged here? Like,
you know
I get
how
all
to
of
read
them.
the room, my friend.
Yeah, I do. I used to manage over 400 people.
Yeah,
I
you
can
can
definitely
tell.
read
You
a room.
can tell.
He's a pro.
The radio chatter is going to come through. Song lyrics, DJs, commercials. Any event you can make out what they're saying, it's a 50-50 shot that we get tied to the location of where we are, a person in history we're talking about, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. So the cool thing is you're going to have an earbud in. You're going to be the only one to hear it in real time, but it's recording.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to spot check this recording tomorrow morning and give you about 15 to 25 more markers of things that I capture that are going to be relevant or not. The reason I do the or nots is so that way you guys learn like the weird phrases that I look for and say, I don't know what this means, I'm going to dive into it. And again, everything I write down, I do research to make sure it's going to be tied in somehow. If it's not, it just doesn't have an explanation. If it is relevant to our space, there will be a link in the explanation to verify the information. So again, I'm not throwing anything out here that's just willy-nilly and saying, oh, that must be this.
Right.
Again, it's going to be fact. I don't want earbuds back. Your earwax is gross. I'm sorry, so is everybody else's.
Ew.
So you get to keep these. I don't want them back.
Ew.
You always high, your volume
I don't
button
blame
is
you.
right here. So again, I'm making sure it's turned all the way down. Get that pop in your ear so you can kind of get used to that guy.
I don't want a job. I'm too drunk to have a job.
You're the birthday girl.
Stop saying that.
I'll do your job for you. I can double duty. You know.
I'm going to give you an easy one.
Thank you. You can tell I'm the one in the group that's like, oh my god,
Drag
I don't
to.
want a job. I don't want a job. I just
So
wanna
this spirit box,
listen.
we don't have to listen to it.
What is that? A what box?
It's a spirit box.
Oh, okay.
So this one, again, we're going to be using several different styles of spirit boxes. This one's going to give us words from time to time in that little bar in the center of the screen. On your TV shows and your paranormal shows, it's going to be called an obelisk. This is replacing that because this has a much bigger dictionary inside of it. It's going to save all of the terms to a word list with timestamps next to it. So last night they actually had 97 terms and phrases show up. It's a lot.
That's so
going-
freaking- That's so creepy.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about this. This is a phone app. 80% of this is going to be bullshit. I'm just telling you right now. It's the other 5 to 20% that's actually going to be relevant to the space, the person, one of us. Same principle as the one that NATALIA has. So again, same principle. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I'm going to come to you when I want to see the list and kind of take a quick glance through it. But I always look at it again with a fresh set of eyes tomorrow morning to see where things line up. I love this guy because when something does show up that's relevant, it has timestamps. So I know where to listen, I know where to watch, and kind of see if something else matches up. So again, this one goes to you, and the first word says separate. Who just left? Then some,
Dorothy.
Yeah.
Where'd she go to pee?
Can I turn this off?
So where does this pick up words? Is it from us?
Let me fully explain what that device is
Okay.
actually doing, because we're already getting questions about it.
No, I just watched.
Said don't ask questions about
I
it
know,
yet.
it's okay. You guys are doing it with every device, which is perfectly fine.
I just don't
So
wanna
that
drop
is picking
it.
up the radio stations again. So in the top left-hand corner of first screen, it's showing the hertz of the radio stations.
Okay.
So if it recognizes a word out of its 9,100 word dictionary,
Gotcha.
it's going to pop it up on the screen.
Okay.
The game we're playing, did it come from the app or did it come from a ghost?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
again, it's a 80-20
Yeah.
kind of mentality.
Okay.
This is so up your alley, though.
So cool.
And Natalia.
Got it.
Oh, and the whole time, Marlo, are you just happy to like put it on us?
Oh, look at her. She
I
knows
know
what she's doing.
She's been
She's
doing
on
the
it.
I'm a
blue
pro
and
at this.
All right. So you got it.
She's like the recorder of history here.
I got you.
I feel like you're
I
like,
got you.
Gina,
Yes.
you're getting the brand new device.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about, Gina.
That's Gina.
You read the only one. Who
Work
didn't
it,
do the
girl.
No one at you.
What'd you say? Do it.
Nothing.
So basically, we're working with a digital Ouija board.
Oh.
It's a brand new
Yes.
device, brand new to the field. It's only been about 2.5 months since this thing was designed. So I just got it maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Basically how this is working is any kind of EMF, which I'm going to explain here with one of the other devices, it's going to spark a letter and stop the cursor on a letter and save them to the bottom row. So hopefully we're going to see anagrams, initials, full names. We never know what's going to pop up.
Can we do that in like?
Hasn't been super active just yet, not necessarily.
Gina
I've been
did the
getting
Ouija
small
board
little
in the
things here and there,
cemetery.
mainly initials. they have to be back to back for me to make any kind of sense out of them whatsoever.
Okay.
So, you doing okay?
You good?
I don't know.
What's up?
Okay.
Are you dehydrated? No, I think
Can I have a little sip?
What's the matter? What's the matter?
I think I need to go home.
Are you sick?
I'm a little dizzy.
Okay.
So you're not feeling well.
No.
What could we do?
So, I will tell you that you were all in Big John's. And that is actually one of the symptoms of going into Big John's. That's a story I tell, which is why we start here.
Dorothy, are you
So-
okay?
She's sensitive.
Do you need to sit?
Yeah. So, it's actually part of the reason why we start here. There's a whole story behind it.
It's a symptom of gummies.
Really?
So, dizziness,
maybe.
queasiness, nausea.
I think
Did
so.
you have one?
Yeah.
So are we feeling ghosts already? Is that what
It
that
depends.
means?
I'm not always going to claim something's
Right,
paranormal.
right. Yeah.
So again, I don't know the situation of which
She's been
what she's
fine
saying.
up until now.
Okay.
Do you want me
Need-
to calm down again?
It's the edible. I'm like, well, we're not going to send her home alone.
Yeah, can't send her home alone.
Oh,
She should
Definitely
be better.
it's the edible that I think she's saying.
So here's my question.
Marla, what do we do? Water. Water?
Yeah, get her water. Yep.
Just sit
Yep.
and take water.
Just
from
get her
her.
water.
Is there something that you guys want to reschedule to have another?
Like,
Why'd you guys go?
No, we're not leaving you
we're
like
not leaving
this.
you.
Crazy
Can you
girl.
call a car soon? I need to go. Can you just call a car?
No, you shouldn't be alone, honey. You should
Yeah, no.
stay with us. Can you drink water and walk?
Yeah, she's walking.
It's better if you just come with
We're
us.
going to take a minute
I
and drink
can't-
water.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
I can't just go.
Well, we'll wait a minute. We have
We'll
2
wait.
hours right now.
I
So
can't. I'm sweating. I feel
But you
like
can't be
shit.
alone, honey. You can't go back alone.
gonna give it a minute, maybe?
Yeah.
Let's give it a moment.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's any
Yeah.
consolation, that's normal.
Yes, absolutely.
100% normal.
Yeah.
Have you?
Just have to explain that.
Take some sips.
9 o'clock and every.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right.
Mondays are usually slow.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
there's only 2 people on there right now, so that would still give you the full room.
I'm hearing a lot of stuff.
Right.
And then for 1 second I heard something weird.
Sorry.
You're good.
Oh, so it was, you know, you just heard like the radio, and then I heard a, ah! Like, but like a scary dude voice, and that was it. And then
Screaming.
nothing. Like, not a scream, more of a
Ryan?
moany.
Does it?
Brian, tell us about Big John's while she's
I know.
resting.
Well, I'm going
Said
to go
that
through the
this
rest
is
of these
why these
devices.
That was
here.
it. It was super
So-
quick, and the rest is nothing.
Go through the
All right.
devices.
So,
Okay.
Gina, this one's going to go to you. Again, digital Ouija board.
Right.
Right now, all we have right now is the letter F. So I'm going to turn up the sensitivity just a little bit. Because again, we've been kind of toying around with this, seeing where the happy medium is.
Right.
So, and the speed of the cursor is about halfway. So now we have an FX. So that one's going to go to you.
Okay. So I just need to hold I don't ask you, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. All right. So,
I'm not supposed to ask any questions.
you're my multitasker. You wanted EMF. I'm going to give you. So normally, when you mention EMF, this is normally what you guys think of, right? So this is the stuff you guys see on TV, on your paranormal TV shows. This measures electromagnetic fields. So this one I normally hand to the little type in the group because we use this one to debunk a lot of things because it doesn't go nearly as high as this one. So this it's going to measure any kind of electricity in the air.
It's an S now.
The big number, anything above 2.5, I want to know what's going on. You and I will kind of see if it's something from a man-made object, so forth and so on. The bottom is ambient temperature. In the event Marlo finds something on her camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it with the yellow probe at the top. Last thing it has is a motion sensor. Anything that's close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it. So I'm touching it now, obviously. There's different colors and different tones in there. You and I will talk about that at the first space that we'll actually use it, but for now, just kind of get used to where those numbers move around.
That's a good
So I'm a
job for you.
floater. If Marlo's
You're a
going
floater.
crazy,
She's a
I'm hopping
floater.
over to you.
You're basically, you got the thumb on
multitasker.
everybody's stuff, is basically what you have going on. Because with the EMF piece, that's actually going to help Gina out knowing where she's going to be able to pick up some letters. Because it's working off the same type of frequency.
Work together. We're all working together, girls.
Yeah, I forget what my job is.
So do I let them know when the letter comes up?
No, you'll let me know.
I'll let you know. Right. Yeah, I have an S now.
Hey, Phil. Listen, her Uber's coming in 2 minutes.
I don't know. She can't be alone.
No, for me. I got it.
Did you get in the house?
Let her go home.
I can get into the house. I'm better.
Are you sure?
No, but we're not leaving till your Uber comes.
Yeah, we're going to hang out here.
And you have to text us when you get in the house.
Yes.
You have the codes and everything,
I think you
right?
dropped sunglasses.
Yep, I saw it.
You got all the codes?
Yep.
You okay?
Wait.
Your friend's like,
When she gets into the Uber.
they won't leave her alone.
No.
She'll get in the house.
She's gonna go to the bathroom. The Uber will be here.
All right.
2 minutes. We can do it. Yeah.
All
We want
right.
to make sure it's fine.
There's a story here anyway. We're not going
What's
anywhere.
the story, Big John?
So, Big John's, of course, there's a reason why we're starting here. Tons of it. As you guys are starting to either find out or from the enemies. Who knows? This place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will slow down on the keywords that are commonly found on the spirit boxes. So, keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar. So, with that said, John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in, they weren't old enough to drink. So John has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry, and they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on, he slammed down his beer and went over and just started beating the shit out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots went off. John gets shot in the neck, but the bullet just grazed him and went behind him in the wall. After being shot, John goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, gets the 2 guys on the floor. Yeah, gets the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. So, the ironic thing about the whole story is that if I tell you a building is haunted, you're normally going to think of some tragic death that occurred here. That's not the case.
Oh, right.
It's the bullet hole.
Right.
Even if this new renovations of Big John's filled in that bullet hole, because this is a newer version of Big John's, it was a couple of things in between, from the last closing. If they filled it in, that just means that they sealed Big John's blood inside the building. People that sit in the front of this building tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. In the event, right. That's why I asked. So, in the event somebody else starts feeling those kind of symptoms, we're not going to always say everything's paranormal, but I'll need to know so we can get that person to safety. Obviously, what we're doing now with Dorothy.
God, watch the street. Is that her Uber?
Natalia, you're going to double check?
So when I am
Natalia's on
looking at this, you said that I'm looking for the
Blue and
blue
black.
Blue and black.
Right. I'll explain more about that at the next stop.
Okay.
But you're on the right track.
Okay.
It's the blue and black. There's always going to be blue and black if there's a person in view.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be the warmest thing out here.
Okay.
So you're really looking for some kind of shape change. You're looking for a massive temperature drop of like 15 degrees or more.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Okay.
All right, girls, put your devices in. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is this like...
1 down, 5 left.
I know, right? At least it's not a dark and stormy night.
Natalia,
Happened before, 1 left.
Natalia,
Natalia, stick your
Because that
device
or
so
no?
use device in with your ear.
Oh.
Yeah, she's getting a picture of all the devices, like each
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
Can you
this
see
is-
all of them, though?
This is so
Wait,
freaking
hold on.
cool.
So
Yeah,
you can
there
see
we go.
all- yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
This is
awesome.
awesome.
Okay.
I've
Look at
lost
that.
more than one in one night before.
Yeah,
it
is she
happens.
gonna like
I'm
let you know
sure.
when she's home?
Yeah, she's
Natalia?
going to text us
Okay.
as soon as she's back.
So,
Good.
that
Good
bullet
dog.
hole. I told you people start to feel queasy or nauseous.
Yeah.
Again, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole group. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to always count everything as paranormal.
Sure.
Let's get our mind off our own health and
You're the
hopefully-
expert.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from another historical tour, now you do. It's an anomaly for us because we're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes. So Big John's, the building, is supposed to have been where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see on the building, a piece of it broke off from the front of the building on East Bay Street, the busy road over there. hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them. They say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. And I said, apparently, and they say, and all that stuff, because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue, so none of us are thinking about getting sick on the tour.
Right.
Yeah, and I get a lot of moms on
I
this
am
tour,
getting
too.
a lot of letters here.
See that? Like 2 X's. So, let's go out to the next spot. Let's go see if we can talk about more.
Anybody ever watch Supernatural?
Yep, I did.
Brothers?
Yeah, brothers. Yeah,
Oh my god, it's the best show ever.
it really is.
You really like noticed.
I know this stuff.
You're a spirit animal.
No, we're gonna exchange phone numbers
You two are like
when we
Yeka.
leave.
You're the same person.
We are.
Supernatural's like the best.
Yes.
Brothers.
Yes.
And they're so freaking hot.
Oh my God, they're so hot. They really are.
My daughter's middle name
Woo!
is Jensen.
Shut your mouth.
I am not shutting my mouth, girlfriend.
May have.
After Jensen Apples.
All right.
Dean.
Welcome to your first stop.
Dean.
So we're not going to spend a ton of time here just because this is more to talk about your devices. There is history here, which I'll explain. You're at the Big Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep the horses for some of your carriage rides. They can hear us, which is exactly why we use earbuds with the spirit boxes, because they don't like the white noise. So, the history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Very, very simple. Keywords being delivery, milk, eggs. Anything relative to a stable. So you kind of got the gist of that.
You just said that and it went weird.
What did it say? I just kind of like paused a little bit. So let's talk about the 3 spirit boxes basically we're working with. So I'm going to count yours as a spirit box too. I don't really have a name for it yet other than Ouija board. But it is a communication device. What is normally the first question you want to ask of some type of communication device with ghosts, like a Ouija board or
Your
spirit
name?
Are you there?
box? Are you there? Is anyone here? In the event that the answer no pops up over here to OG, that means somebody's here. We are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. You don't get actual paranormal evidence out of yes and no questions.
Who's here?
Exactly. Normally what I say is, when I'm teaching people how to use these devices, it's all about how to ask the question. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. You normally start with something you already know the answer to. Obviously the color, the answer being red. We're looking for it and listening for it, and obviously...
Oh my god, I got an R.
You got it all.
Yep.
It's good. So, what I am going to tell you is that Natalia is listening to song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us, and the word red might not be available for them to use to be able to convey the message back. Fire truck, blood,
think
heart.
someone's here.
Those 3 things with specifically red. So that would make sense to me. What color is the big red barn? Blood is what you heard. I'm good with that. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there's at least 2 happenings among the 5 devices here to be able to come close to calling it paranormal. For an example, let's say your word list said the word art on it, and that doesn't mean anything to us over here. But then all of a sudden, Natalia hears the number 40. Put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys get the gist of how we're putting the clues together? So again, a lot of these people we're going to be talking about tonight are from the 17 and 1800s. They all have the same types of names.
Right.
Georges,
I thought it
Charleses,
said
that kind of mentality.
All right.
So again, we have to put the clues together to
You
be
have
able
to
to
pay
verify what's
attention to
going
your
on.
machines.
Exactly.
Mine says away right now.
Away?
Yeah.
That means we need to go away from
Not
the
yet.
building.
Oh, not yet.
Marlo, your device, like I said, we're going to try to keep a person in view at all times, just
Yeah.
because we're going to be the warmest thing. Much easier to find a cold spot when we have the warmer
warm
thing
spot.
in there. You're the only one out here with a camera tonight, so just fair warning is we're going to be in spaces like this where there's parked cars, people might be walking by. It is a Sunday, so I don't expect a whole lot. People don't like their cars to be filmed, and they definitely don't like to be filmed themselves. They think we're weird vloggers out here, and you get the point.
Yeah.
So, you're good. So the other thing you're going to try to do, other than try to keep one of us in view, is try to keep the sky out of view, if you can.
Out of view?
Out of it.
Okay.
Out of it, yeah.
Because the blue dot defaults to the sky because there's no surface.
Gotcha.
So again, it's
Okay.
going to default up there every time, and then we're just basically staring at the blue and black, trying to wait for a shape to happen.
Gotcha. Okay.
The only other device I think I need to work with would be yours, but we're going to do that at the next space where we're going to start using that motion sensor. So I say we get away from the football players and ponies and go deep dive into history. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Smells so damn good.
That was weird. I got an R. R. So weird. a B
You have a
at
D?
the barn.
So
We
you
got a
have
B for
RD?
B. RB.
RB.
B as in boy.
Yeah, maybe the boy.
Blood. Red blood.
Red barn. That could be red,
Red barn. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
I got an E.
E. What was his name? Big John?
Yeah, Big John's a football player. I got an E right there too. I got an E.
Just as we were walking through it.
Red rum.
Alright. Another E.
Yep. How do you know that?
I just saw it. It's real big on the
Oh,
right
it
side.
goes big. Okay.
He doesn't need cheaters like the rest of
Oh
us.
my god.
They do. They're just in a car. I just know where to look. So,
So right now I'm at 77.
in the center,
Yep.
She's inside.
Right between you two.
Is that normal?
What does that mean?
it's 78 degrees up here, so that's.
Oh.
So I'm literally looking.
So you're like 104, it says.
You know why?
Why?
Because I'm the one talking.
Oh.
So I'm blowing hot air. My blood is flowing quicker than yours. So I had to study thermodynamics in order to fully understand that camera. So I always noticed that I was the most warm person in the video. So I had to learn why.
Okay,
I'm
that's
the one moving
interesting.
around, I'm talking.
Yeah.
My brain is working harder. It's just because I'm trying to keep up with 5 people. You guys are trying to keep up with one device.
Okay.
So, welcome to your first space. It's a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. What is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there. It came all the way across. And the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space.
Hey,
When was
listen,
it built?
you guys, listen.
We're going to get into all that. You guys are going to find the answers. I'm not going to give you everything.
Okay.
So I guess first and foremost, I am not going to give you guys questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes.
Right.
So again, I'm going to withhold information on purpose so that way everybody here has a genuine experience.
Gotcha.
So, with that said, who the heck were Charles and Eliza? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses.
There's a mansion right here.
Oh, Charleston.
No,
There was a
that was King
there was a
Charles.
there was
sorry.
a mansion right here in the garden.
Yeah.
Sorry, we
Over
were
there.
talking.
The 3 different Charleses, this is why we look for those secondary verifiers, like the Art and 40, like what we did over there. So
Uh-huh.
again, it's a matter of like trying to figure out which Chuck are we chatting with. That's
Right.
the whole mentality behind it. That's why we always look for that second clue. So the son and the nephew, Charleses, they were actually signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Like that's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics. And obviously I don't like talking about politics, but I have to bring it up. It's one of those pieces where if I don't, the spirit boxes will do it for me, angrily. And I don't like to anger anybody. So with that said, Eliza married Charles, first off, at a young age, according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if we're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, it's not going to be numbers like 12 and 14. It's going to be according to today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age. So kind of a creepy age gap back in colonial times, definitely a creepy age gap now. So just kind of keep that in the back of your brains. But she married him because her father was over in England, because that's where she's from. He thought he was dying, and he's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time so he can see him before he dies. She didn't think he was dying, so instead she gets married. 1744. You don't get married in 1744 to get a green card.
Right.
We're not even a country
Right.
yet.
Correct.
So, again, she married this guy out of love, and no, there was not an affair or any kind of foul play. A lot of people like to poke that bear, and it's just not there. So, she was correct. Dad did not die right away. He starts sending her gifts instead from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Sorry, when I talk faster, so I get the hiccups. So, with that said, indigo is obviously a pretty big deal, but she didn't know
I
what
read
to
a
do with
story
it.
about her.
She didn't know
I
what to
read
do with
a
this
nonfiction
indigo.
story about her.
She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, as you can guys see. It's actually really nice and
Beautiful right now.
Yeah. So she had to learn from them, experimented with it here, moves it to another plantation just south of here near the Stono River.
Where she lives.
And she actually calls her father up and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. That's her business. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. So, with your spirit box, you're going to focus on questions like what happened to Eliza at her death. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral.
Just think it.
Think it, speak it, however you want to do it. Everybody is going to pretty much get a set of questions that has a communication device.
Guys, I've read your story. What happened?
With your device, you can ask what happened to the mansion, and hopefully we get, obviously, the tragedy.
Hold on, I'll tell you what it is. I have a word. Hold on. I got something. It's a lie. It's all a lie.
Is that what it says? Lie?
It's a lie.
Liza,
I
tell
got
us your
lie.
story. Tell us your story. Tell us the truth.
What's the truth?
So, with the tragedy of what happened to the mansion, if we get an answer, hopefully we can ask when that happened. So, hopefully we'll get a specific date. Like what we were talking about with the 11/22/63 earlier. Yeah, we get the numbers of the tragedy oftentimes when we get the tragedy on top of it. With your device, because it is so new and experimental at this point, I would actually like to, I don't know if I want to flip it to numbers because it doesn't record them. It does do numbers, but it doesn't put them in the bottom row. So you would actually have to kind of really keep an eye on it and let me know it. Hey, it said 1, 2, 3. Like, and kind of tell me what the numbers are to see if I can see if there's any ties to that. I want to see if they're going to be able to spell anything out. So I would really try to focus on, like, maybe. See, I have like this whole series of questions that I have like teams of 10. I'm trying to figure out like which one's going to work best with this device.
She's already home.
So maybe
Inside.
Good.
Okay. Sorry.
I guess we can focus on like how many children
She
there
said she's
were
already
and
feeling
what their
better.
names were.
Okay.
She's
So
already
the reason
feeling
we're not
better?
getting more questions
These
about the
girls.
kids because there's a tragedy there. In the
Wait,
event
who?
that we start
Dorothy.
posting
She's
fire,
like,
all the kids
she's like, I feel fine now.
so
I'm
we
sorry
don't
to
want
scare
that to
you.
happen.
It was
So
the
again,
ghost.
How many kids and what their names are.
No, it probably was the ghost. Like this, yeah.
Any
She
numbers?
just
Yeah.
got home.
I
She's
heard.
like,
Yeah, it's
right?
it's
She
up
said
to
I'm fine now.
1.4. It's bopping.
So
And
up
it
to
was
1.1
flat.
is natural from the earth. That's why I just throw those away. I expect those.
1.4,
So
and it was up to 1.5 before.
yeah, even still, 2.5 and higher.
Age,
The reason
or
why
age.
2.5.
And age. And what their names were. So
Where's the
they
cursor at?
both
Do you have a
have-
full bottom row?
I do.
We're going to reset it then. So the
Or
way you
like,
do
do
that
you
is you
want me
turn
to
counterclockwise,
capture
this
you?
little dial up here, until it clicks, and then you just turn it back on, you get the happy
I'm
song,
looking.
and then it'll start all over with a fresh thing at the bottom.
Got a
That was
Really
all
did
pretty
have
much
an
started.
age though. So.
Okay, we'll count the age. Alright, so with your device, let's get that motion sensor
Okay.
moving. So you've already seen a few numbers that are going on your device. You have the 1.5, 1.4,
Now it's 0.
now it's
So
0.
when did they get rid of the? When did it get knocked down?
You guys are going to find that out from your spirit boxes. I'm not going to reveal all the answers. That's no fun.
Because it was a lie.
So let's go ahead and pull up your antenna.
I mean, she said it was a lie.
Nope, the other one.
History.
Yes. Alright, now
Just give me a name of the kids. Or maybe how old they were.
We are doing some ghost shit out here tonight.
You know what I want to do is go up there. Can I go? Come on, no one will miss us.
I'm out. Oh my god, that
I'm
is
not
so.
doing this for 2 hours.
Oh my god, that
Say your
is.
fucking thing on that. I'm out.
I cannot stand you.
I can't do this for 2 hours.
Oh my
I'm
god.
trying, but I'm like, oh man.
Okay, well look, it's only 9:40.
Natalia and Beth are really into it though.
We gotta
and look
get-
at her too. She's
No,
like,
no,
"Tell me your
no,
kids'
Jean,
names."
Jean is
Serious?
totally into
Oh,
it.
yeah,
No, she is.
She does like the Ouija stuff.
We're about to find some shit right now.
Oh my god, go freak her out. Be like, Gina, I didn't sense you right now. Oh wait, we're being recorded.
But look.
Sorry, Gina, I love you. Oh god, there's an alert. That's not good. It's okay.
What was her name? What was her name?
Eliza.
Eliza?
Yeah. Oh, what do I
Eliza,
have?
you're
I have a
yours.
word.
Show me.
Spy on.
Words show up.
Oh my god, hold on. I just went down into the 50s.
Let me see.
Spy on. Spy on?
Spin.
Spin?
Spin.
I don't know. I don't have my glasses. Let me see. Natalia. I want to spin up to that place.
Look at it. That's so nice.
We're not getting too loud.
I'm like kind of loving it. Are you ready for
No,
it?
my sister and you are loving it, and just
Nobody else? Oh, you know what?
Right,
We can just
I'm
fucking look, and then there were 3. Whatever. Look, I'm going for the full ride.
all right.
You guys want to drop
Marlo's into it too, I think. No.
I mean, I don't need this to feel spirits, but
Okay.
I'm trying.
Do you know she's actually a
I
spirit
am a-
reader?
I am
for
a
real,
medium.
a medium.
I am. I'm a
She
psychic
is.
and a medium. Yeah.
See, now we're going to get some
Yeah.
action.
Well,
So-
that-
I knew it.
I
I was
will-
like, please let one person be sensitive.
No, I
But
am.
that's
I'm very
why
sensitive.
I'm like, Marlo already can do this. I'm out. Like,
No. This is
I
all
feel bad for
good.
this guy. Gina, Marlo's a spirit
I
and a
don't feel bad
medium.
for him. He's so happy. He wants
Look at
to-
what. Oh, the Ouija. The Ouija's.
You're not doing me.
Really? That happened the other night, but it only happened one time. How many times has that occurred? Twice now?
Where are you? So what numbers do you need to be at?
Over 2.
Ooh, I got a new
Over
word.
two,
I got a
okay.
new
Like
word.
every time
Ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
Tito's.
Program. Program.
It was like force the letter.
Oh, come on. I am actually.
Natalia and you. She goes, and then there were 3 because I'm in this
Yes.
for the long haul.
I
I
am-
was like, you and Natalia.
I am the last stop
like the names are
of the saloon. Come on,
Well,
deep
it's how
breaths.
many?
Hang in there.
how many?
Yeah.
Come on,
Just because
give
we
into
got
it.
to the age
Yeah,
of-
just
trying.
just
I'm
just
trying.
give into it.
All right, all right.
But you also said the name.
We're just having some fucking
Just
fun right
the
now.
sheer,
That's it.
like,
Oh,
the
okay.
sheer.
So we need to move on because she's not here. I can tell you she's not here.
No.
She's
She's
not.
not gonna
Liza's
be.
not here. We
Yeah.
need to keep
She's not going to be
walking.
in a dirty ass parking lot.
We don't know
She's
that
not
yet. I'm saying
here.
we're listening.
No, she said she's not here. Going? Wait,
Gone.
gone.
She's not going to
She
hang
said
here.
that
She
she's
wants
not.
us to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all the words?
Yeah. So far. There's nothing. We have 23 terms, and all of them are garbage.
Okay.
Where are we going, Nick? Lead the way.
I'm
Gone.
waiting to see
Waiting
this.
for
We all
answers.
honestly should be following you. You're
Hola.
the one to know where the
Hola.
hotspots are.
Chica.
We're waiting to know.
We're following Beth. She's looking for the hot spots.
Come on, how many kids?
Anything helpful?
Went the highest 0.9 and it was heading that direction.
Well, it's not about pointing it. It's about literally right here. It's not like
22.5.
there we have it.
22.5.
Okay.
We just had a jump.
All
Now
right,
it's
I'm
back
gonna
down.
look over here.
That's why they call it ghost hunting. They don't
Right
stand
here.
still.
Right here.
All right. So where's
Somebody
that
came in and
crazy
trapped
girl?
me.
Basically, because she actually had kind of a spike right here. Your device is working off of the same type of readings. So basically, because she had a spike over here, I would have you hang out here and see if we're going to get anyone else probably back there.
Somebody came in and trapped me.
I can see you dancing.
Again,
I'm like, she's like,
Are you hearing anything out of there?
hey,
Are you hearing
are you hearing anything?
A lot of lyrics.
Okay,
A lot
what
of
are the lyrics?
It goes, it comes and goes. Here, I'm a center, it's here. Nothing.
But, I mean, do you remember any of the songs that you've heard so far since we've been here?
Just, I'm here, it's the center. And then that was it. It was like a rap song.
You heard the center?
Yeah.
Moved to the center, and that's where she got her.
It's the center.
So it's vague.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff.
It's not easy to do.
Yeah, what is that?
something happened.
Oops, sorry.
Again, it's not the number, it's right here. It's not where you pointed. It's a
Nothing right here. It's right here.
Truth.
Proof.
Go, girlfriend. Here we go.
Oh, we got an F and an I.
Show us the way.
Up here? Okay. Oh, wait.
Right underneath the line.
Okay. It's a lot of letters above it.
Yeah, if they start going like literally copying every letter, turn
Here
it
we
down.
go.
Line in there.
Beth.
Yep.
Alert, alert. Not where you're pointing, it's where you are.
I heard signed a prenup.
Prenup.
Signed a prenup.
I like the word sign.
Oh God, I just got shot. S-H-O-T. Shot. Somebody
Yes.
murdered?
Someone was shot, but not killed.
We're getting closer.
It's not up for discussion.
Oh, there's activity over here. Do you see anything, Marlo?
I'll tell you in a
Any
minute.
other cool spot? High spot? What's this over here? There's something here, right?
You should be clicking that reset button every single time.
Tune. I have tune on my phone.
Song and tune.
Tune. No, shot and tune. Shot and
Oh,
tune.
that's right, yeah, shot.
Right now we're on a point.
Nothing I can put anything together yet. Oh, how do you reset? Who was at the? Who was at
I'm gonna give you all the answers. Don't worry, it'll make sense here.
All right, George.
I need to watch.
No, a little early.
You are killing me right now. You're like, you're fucking in the wrong.
Did you see my heat? Oh, off the charts. Sorry. It's 80 degrees, 80.7. Now it's dropping. Oh,
Yeah, it is dropping.
jeez. It's dropping. 80. We're going down. Poor Natalia's just listening to like chatter. Are you good, Natalia?
I'm
You
hearing
good?
like
It's just
there's
you're
a lot of
listening to
crap,
like
and then I
rap.
heard,
And I'm
I heard prenup. I heard
Yeah.
engaged to her.
Right.
I heard.
Oh,
Right.
prenup
Let me
and
listen.
engaged
Let me
to
listen to
her.
one.
Or like what?
I want to listen to one.
It's a lot of crap.
Yeah,
and then
I
you hear
got-
words come through.
CEO.
Last letter shows up, and I'll put everything together. Center E. E just keeps showing up. All right, let's head over to the wall. Yeah.
I heard love.
Right? A lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good in. I'm getting my time. I'm gonna go check on
Prenup.
I-
Signed a free.
I heard love.
You heard love?
I heard love in there.
So here's the way I look at this when we're going through this device and I'm spot checking it tomorrow morning. We're going to get words because it's so slow. Again, it sounds fast to you, but it's actually super slow. We're going to get words before and after what they're actually trying to give us. What color is the big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. We don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer. You gave me signed a prenup. I just told you about signers of the Constitution. So you have the word signed in there, so there might be another clue somewhere else while I'm spot checking it of who it was that signed it. Did you have the letter CP show up by chance? In a row? So probably the most definitive thing that I saw was the GW that showed up inside the report. I'll explain more about that once we get to that point. Whenever we have any of the words show up on yours, right?
Author, fate.
Author and fate?
Fate. F-A-T.
Okay.
Author and fate.
So, whenever I bring out this tablet, I'll kind of give you guys a quick rundown of all the answers using the tablet so that way you kind of have a general visual of what was going on in this space. So the first thing I always do is show you the mugshot of the person we're trying to hunt down. So Eliza Lucas Pinckney.
Oh, that's helpful.
This is the woman that used to live here. This is the one that planted all of the indigo. Obviously a very prominent English woman, blue in the dress signifying the indigo. So she married Charles at the age of 22. He was 45. So it's better than 12 and 25, so we're going to take it.
Like
So,
73.
yeah, right? So that's why I like to show you guys these pictures, so obviously I can remember all of the answers. That way I don't leave anything out. As far as the mansion goes, we were asking about that as well. So with that being said, this is exactly where you're standing right now. This is the only photograph of the mansion we actually have. This is after the fire damage of 1861.
Is that road right here, right here?
So this is actually kind of looking at it from the back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So with this, the fire was one of the biggest fires we ever actually endured. Again, this is a huge fire. Every tour is going to tell you about a fire because we've had dozens of them. So this is the fire. This is a map of Charleston, obviously.
Oh, wow.
You're standing on the green dot on the right-hand side of this map.
Wow.
That's where we are exactly.
It's a major fire.
Major fire. Literally went from one side of the peninsula to the other.
Oh, wow.
So this is giant. This is $5 to $9 million worth of damage in 1861. This took place on 12/11/61. So when we do get the term fire that shows up through a spirit box, oftentimes we'll get the full date or at least 2 out of the 3 numbers that make up the date.
How did that happen?
So some folks were, like homeless folks, up by where the Harris Teeter grocery store is, were trying to stay warm. They got out of hand, came down this way, did the damage I showed you to the mansion, and then literally went to the other side. So it started with some homeless folks, probably with a barrel of some sort, or a huddled campfire.
Yeah.
So that's it on the picture pages. We were also asking about the children with the Ouija board. We'll just keep calling it that, I guess.
Right.
So there were 4 children total. Charles, we already know about, signer of the Constitution, which I am excited about the word sign. I know that seems, you guys were all excited about prenup, but again, there wasn't been a prenup back in 1743. 4 children. Charles, we talked about. Thomas is the next one. He was actually shot in the left leg and captured by the British during the Battle of Camden. So we can probably turn that motion sensor off because once we leave this space, it's going to be irrelevant on the street of East Bay. So that's the white button in the back if you want to try to tap it. So Thomas, we didn't get anything relative to Thomas, but I'm just giving you the clues that I normally look for. So left leg shot. We did get shot. So that's where that one actually came into play.
Oh, yeah.
So again, he wasn't killed. It was just a shot to the leg, and he was left on a cane the rest of his days. So when I'm going through your data, because we have the word shot in this space, I'll be obviously
Lose
listening.
my mind.
Looking for things wrapped
So I'm
around
hearing,
Thomas,
like, you
whether it's
get
his
a
birthday,
phrase,
whether it's something
lose my
about the
mind.
battle, whatever war it was from, so forth and so on. The next child is one I asked you guys not to poke the bear with, so that would be Baby George. You can already see where this one's going. Baby George doesn't have a headstone or a grave. It is a theory that he was kept right here in the home, mummified, waiting for his mother to pass away so he could be buried with his mom. It's going to get even more weird when we start talking about Eliza's death, because you're going to realize it was a pretty long time before mom passed away.
Damn. Baby George
was
rotting.
Ramsey's George.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
no.
next child, the only daughter, the last child, her name was Harriet. She married Daniel Horry, so Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. That gives you an idea of where she lived, about 2.5 hours north of here. Wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza to go see her daughter. Lots of letter writing instead. In the event we do hear from Harriet, which is very seldom, we do get like ink, quill, paper, anything relative to letter writing. Did have an age. Eliza's death. So, Eliza was 70 years old when she passed away in 1793. That's a long time for a colonial woman to be living. I just want to point that out. She was going to Philadelphia, getting treatments for whatever they thought she had. It turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what breast cancer was completely in 1793, so we're going based off of her medical records today. Now, she was going to Philadelphia. That's where she died. That's where she's buried. That should ask 2 questions in the back of your brain. By the way, Marlo, you can stop recording and kind of give your hands a break. So hit the square.
I'm gonna go down there. And then there were 4.
And then there were 4.
Lori, text. Are you checking
Yeah,
on
I'm right
Dorothy?
here. I'm gonna wait for you guys. Come on.
Don't wait for us. Just make sure.
All right, I'll
everyone-
meet you back at the plane.
Well,
All
text when you get there. Make sure Dorothy's okay.
Is she going home or to a bar?
She's going
She's running.
home. She talked about going to bar. I told her you can't go to bar alone.
That's what she said.
This
She's
says
running?
She's going home.
She's running on empty.
How do these words go through?
Radio stations. As a dictionary.
She's impatient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of figured she wasn't into this anyway.
use my system.
It's okay. Well, we're still recording, so let's keep moving. Welcome to Lodge Alley.
What is it? Lodge out?
Lodge Alley. So,
Pourquoi is it large?
when we came down East Bay Street, across that last crosswalk, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. You're standing on one of the very first streets we ever had in Charleston.
Oh, wow.
This is so
The
cool.
walls
So-
for flooding or security?
No, security, fortification.
Fortification.
So, I have the full list of names of every resident that's ever lived down here.
Is there a Bourbon Avenue? Because that's what it says. It's Burb Ave. No? Okay.
Have you heard any names along the way? I know we were
I
chatting.
heard love. Smile in your heart.
So, the name piece is because of that resident list. It's not a lengthy list. However, I take the same names down here every 6 to 7 weeks. Here's why this is happening. Well, first off, you should know what names that you guys normally tell me. The names are Benjamin and John. So, I know it sounds very common, but when I say that there were people that live down here, it's only like 2 to 5 people at a time.
Selected. These are selected.
Now, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here during a 60-year time span. John likes to give us his last name to clarify which John. His last name is Johnson. John Johnson is his full name. Yes, his mother must have been evil. So, Ben and John both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people that will show up here every 6 to 7 weeks. We're on week 7 of that loop. So, again, it'll recycle again tomorrow, starting with week 1. I kind of keep track of it, but I can't pinpoint an exact date. Here's why this is happening. The bricks you're standing on. These bricks have been here since at least 1739 that we know of. Even the historians don't even know for certain. They're made out of granite. Granite is not supposed to have any electrical charge to it whatsoever. Pick a brick and put your device directly onto the ground. Don't turn on the white button in the back.
All of us?
No,
Oh.
just hers. So, because granite's not supposed to have an electrical charge, I would expect up to a 1.1 because that's natural from the earth. Anything above that, obviously, I can't fully explain other than the stone tape theory basically states that any earthly material, solid like this, that's been in here for a long period of time, is said to hang on to the memories of the things that happened here. So that's why we keep getting the same names over and over and over again. So we don't have anything above a 0.1 at this point, so we probably don't have anything going on. Probably aren't going to have anything. I do focus on this, especially during week 6 and 7 of that loop. I focus on the spirit box recordings to see if I can find those names because it's almost a guarantee. We've had one Ben show up, and that was last week. So again, I haven't heard from John at all, and I did not have another Ben show up.
Well, I do have a V and an E.
Oh, for Ben.
Ben, you want to continue spelling the name? That would be great. Keep an eye on it. You can go ahead and pick it up. It's not going to give us anything. You're at 0 right now.
Yeah, it's saying no way, Jose.
Now, I've seen that
Almost
device
a
before.
lack of registry is saying something.
Normally, yeah, and the fact that it's not giving anything from the ground. Right.
Because it's supposed to.
Or at least a point something. I've seen it go
Not
all
bad
the way
right
up
here.
to 15.7 in this location.
Yeah, benches
So
are-
it's a very interesting space just for that matter. But the other piece of this history is that before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. So we will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons as well. So we'll get the word symbols, we'll get Mason, we'll get the word Illuminati on the device that Natalia is using. And what's funny about that is...
Who's Barry?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Again, not every word. We're going to be out here till 4 in the morning if we do, because it's going to give us about 100.
Yeah, okay.
So
I know, we were just talking about names. That's
I
why
know,
said
but
it.
Barry is exciting. I don't know if that's, like, I don't have the list memorized.
Yeah.
But Illuminati. On that piece, who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio, first off? Second point of that is, why am I only hearing it in this space? Normally you guys will hear it on the way in. So again, it's usually in this space. 6 times last year alone. So far this year it's been 3 times. And again, I don't tell anybody anything until we reach like 3/4 of the way through the hour. So again, they have no reason to tell me the word Illuminati. No reason whatsoever. The next space we're going to go to, because again, I told you we're not going to spend a lot of time here because it's considered a quiet space. I'm sure you guys notice I like to go to where the other tours are not. But we're going to be entering into that very popular corner of where a lot of the other ghost tours go. It is Sunday, so don't expect a whole lot. But the next space is going to be another alley, but I can't take you through it like what we're doing now. Here's why. I've been booted out. Yes, you guys have the noisemakers and the gizmos and the gadgets, so it is considered residential at the end, and it is considered out of bounds. You have to remember, I'm most of the time 90% sold out on a nightly basis. It's not fair for my 9 to 11 people to be investigating around 20 to 60 tours that are just hanging around. So again, I still tell the story outside of the alley just because we're going to stir some shit up, and hopefully it'll keep things flowing for us even at our very last stop after that, because we're going to be relatively close. No more long intervals in between. So we're going to head up to that next alley. Marlo, you're going to stop filming as we exit.
Okay.
So just because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood, we don't want to record houses.
Okay.
So keep an eye on both of yours, Gina. So you're actually, see, this ghost hunting is not a scary thing. Like, you are double-fisted, you're in control.
Good.
So she's got this. You see how she like really warmed up?
She's evolving.
She is evolving. I'm very proud.
I'm so proud of you.
I will tell you, like, my sister is a very naive person.
Yeah.
So she's an English major, but she's also a teacher. So she's never left her hometown. Like, doesn't know anything about the outside world and doesn't understand what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And then I have my other sibling is an evangelist. So
That's fun.
a Jewish evangelist.
You're
Of
the
all
devil.
things.
Ouch, 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 ouch.
Unfortunately, the only name I got was Trump.
Oh my god.
Spit on it and delete it. These are quite combos.
No.
Well, look how smooth. And how many people and carts and shit driving with us. So cool.
And the thing that these 2 giant buildings weren't even here.
Granite.
Just to get a better
That
grip.
is fascinating.
So it's just, it's
It
constant.
actually is. Then you get to know these people. Like a one-on-one relationship.
So our next vacation up to Pennsylvania, as I like to call it,
Pencil sucky. Everybody calls it pencil sucky.
except for my wife, because that's where she's from.
Oh yeah. She's probably she gets offended.
Face north and real subtle.
It is Pennsylvania.
Where is she from?
Oh my
PA?
God.
Latrobe,
Latrobe?
like near Pittsburgh.
Oh.
But we're going to be cutting through Philadelphia, so I can go pay my respects to her. I talk about this woman every night, so it's a matter of, I feel the need.
It's on the way.
It is.
Across the
We may even stop to talk about, like, go see the grave of the guy that's here. So, that we're going to talk about another person that's not even buried here in Charleston. Another interesting, weird thing.
But
So,
from here.
no.
No?
No. He's
Didn't
from
live
Rhode
in
Island, and he's buried in Virginia. The guy we're about to talk about.
You tell us all about it because I'm
am.
intrigued.
This is Philadelphia Alley. It's named Philadelphia Alley because of one of the many fires that we had. Philadelphia kind of bailed us out.
Was he Islamic?
No.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
I got the word Islamic.
All
that's
non
why.
sequitur for me.
But
You're
this
saying
used to be called
Islamic.
Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur. Like take 10 paces, turn and shoot. Yeah. So Marlo, just kind of a heads up. You're looking kind of like a vlogger. A lot of other tours will still go down there. We kind of are a little bit more discreet over here just because of the people walking by. They didn't pay to get filmed. So just when another group's coming by. But we're going to talk about one of the duels, but of course you're ghost hunting. I'm going to tell you the story that every other ghost tour tells, but a little bit differently with different details, because obviously I do a lot of research that they don't. So, here's how this one went down. The doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's engaged to his fiancée. What you got?
Nothing.
Oh, look like you're going to say something.
No, Joseph Brown. Okay.
Joseph Brown Ladd, like L-A-D-D. Just because I see you kind of like spelling it out in your head. But his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has all this cash and she has an attorney that's helping her out with the money. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her cash, so he tells Amanda, get rid of this doctor. So he moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. He's still in love with her. So the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. We're going to stop on Ralph for a second because Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Before we had your Ouija board, the letters RI would show up on spirit boxes all the time. But Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs, that's from 2 different characters. We need a secondary clue so we know who it belongs to. However, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's probably got a gunman inside, going to try to kill you and take all your money. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them and you'll be good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and now the two are friends. The longer the doctor stays in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a haunted whistling ghost. It's just
New
a
Orleans
cliche.
has got one.
It's a given.
Yeah, it's a given. However, there is proof of this one. It's very interesting, and we pretty much capture it from this space pretty much every night. But anyway, back to the doctor.
So I'm at like 56.
56 where?
Like right by that pole.
Can I see your device? That's your text?
Yeah, it just, well, I'm trying to find out where Lori is. It just popped at 4.5 right smack in front of me.
Tell me where, Marla.
So go up a little bit, like raise your arm up.
Still at the same temperature.
So what am I seeing then? Let me come up a little bit.
That was weird. I got the doctor got something.
Okay, so come right here. Come like right here.
The doctor, I couldn't hear the other word. The doctor
I'm wondering
something.
if you're getting the leaves they are a little bit cooler.
Well, it shot up when I was standing up there. It
Yeah,
went from 0 flat line
so
to
now it's
5.
back to like.
That's because of the building behind you. It's
But
gonna come
I
Now
was
it's back
facing
to
out.
like
Is that
60.
Doesn't matter, you're still
Okay.
standing next to it.
Now it's back to like 65, but it was like 55 for a little bit right here.
Okay. I'll hand that back to you. The numbers are because of the electrical readings. All right, so let's go back to the wall.
Lori's
Good
getting
catch.
in 2
But you heard the
inches
doctor
per
something?
Yeah.
Doctor something. Share with loved ones.
and he was trying to prove his love. She's getting into an Uber to go check on Dorothy.
Okay.
I said text when you get in the house with her.
You said 56 degrees, right? I'm paying attention to
Yes.
because I do care. It's
And
not.
No,
Change
I'm
colors.
I'm putting out for the group that she's okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks. And hopefully we'll find out that Dorothy's okay too.
I think they're both okay.
Okay.
I
Whistling Doctor, that's where we were, right?
Whistling doctor, yes.
The doctor and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other. Why? The doctor makes more money than Ralph. He gets better seats. That's how that goes. So they can't talk about the plays until they're walking on their way home. They went to go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare. They started arguing over the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph not so much. The argument gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It's pretty ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ladd sees this ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit. Somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just needed the courage and bravery to show up to the fight for his reputation, which is often what happened at a duel. Ralph has his one bullet still. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor, so the doctor doesn't die right away. His friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, which is where he was living, and he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that this guy is a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, they say as you walk through the alley, you can actually get the whistles from the doctor.
Oh.
Now, here's where things get a little weird. I used to take my tours all the way through to the end of this, using the voice recorder only. We weren't even using the earbuds for your spirit boxes yet. So I was like, all right, spirit box is down. You're going to use the voice recorder as we walk through here. So we do have some whistles that you can't debunk, but if you're going to try this on your own using your voice recorders from your phone, keep in mind that every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen from the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. We're going to end up there where that big street post is, and my garage is right there, which means I have to pass the alley. Since I've been booted out, I throw a whistle every single night. When my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to do it first. So, here's how I got booted out of there. This is the fun part. So, yeah, everybody wants to know how the hell did I get booted out of here. This alley didn't always come all the way through. It used to hold the livestock for the city of Charleston, so it was blocked off on this end, which means the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave kids. There's one full handprint from a slave child and fingerprint swipes and bricks to the left. I would always point them out because, I'm sure you guys picked up, I'm all about the history and accuracy.
Right.
It shows how far we've come away from slavery.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty big deal for me. However, everybody wants to try to get a reading from it or listen to a spirit box. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at the brick in the afterlife.
Right.
So, November 26th, 2020, my entire group of 10 decided they're going to huddle around that brick and they're going to try to get a reading. It's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. He came out screaming. He was not very happy with me and my group. We left. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night because Dad's getting yelled at. So we left. The next day was Thanksgiving, November 27th. I did not have a tour. I worked in retail management for over 20 years. I'm sure you can understand I take Thanksgiving off these days.
Sure.
As you should in retail.
November 28th was when I got my phone call on a Friday, Black Friday. So I'm sold out again. Got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway, like we're allowed to, or to reroute my group. Again, not fair to my 10 to 11 people to work around 20 to 60. So I decided I'm going to reroute and tell them a story I didn't even believe in because I'd been in the location several times and never had anything pop up out of it. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne out of a spirit box. I was like, Anne. I did not tell them we were going to be investigating female pirate Anne Bonny.
Holy shit. And Bonnie's on this tour?
Yeah, that's where we're going next. When we get there, it gets good. I told them the little bit of shit I didn't know about pirates. I'm a vampire guy. I was not a pirate
me
person.
too. Yes, absolutely.
So I told them the little bit I did know. I even told them that I didn't even believe in the story because my podcast and blog episode even tells you, like, I don't believe this shit. Pirates are not haunting the location. We get up there, somebody else hears the number 300. I have no idea what the hell that means until I'm doing the research. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
The first time I ever took a team there. So I was like, shit. Now I got to learn a whole hell of a lot of things about pirates. And again, trying to piece together pirate lore to make a factual data tour the way I designed this, it was really difficult to do. I've read I don't know how many books about damn pirates. So worst case scenario, because it is a hit or miss location. We're going to have a shit ton of stuff come up or nothing at all.
Yeah.
As much as we're kind of struggling with the spirit box pieces, we're probably not going to see much, to be quite honest. Not expecting anything. But you're going to learn a whole hell of a lot of things about pirates that you guys never even thought possible.
Awesome.
So, let's head up to the next space. We're going to stay out of all the other ghost tours way. That one was called Kinlock's Court. So it was still considered residential, and then they kind of turned it over to the city. We're going to go all the way to the wall, because you see how the tours are cut through here.
It's all about zoning.
It is. Like, I have a map I have to follow. So, part of the reason why I got booted out of this is because of the residential piece, and this was never part of my route. So again, I would keep going through Philadelphia Alley, and we would end back on another spot on East Bay Street. But we had to cut through a neighborhood in order to do it, so that was totally out of bounds. So I went to the tourism office, had a little meeting in a powwow. They gave me the map, and we kind of worked out a few things, and it was a matter of, like, I added this already. So they're like, you're going to all the right places, you can still hit, you can go to Pinkley Mansion, nobody can bother you there. You can go to Big John's, nobody's bothering you there. You know, you're all in safe zones because it is, business at that point.
So it's all about being zoned commercial or residential.
Yep. So I am always looking to change this up because, believe it or not, telling the exact same stories over and over and over again. Like, I want to take out the Big John's piece and add something else at the end of this. So it's been a matter of what's beyond this. I'm trying to find a haunted enough location.
You need a lorry.
What's that?
New Orleans, the lorries.
No, I haven't been in New Orleans yet.
All right, why does it pop
Alright.
to 10.2?
I don't know. You shouldn't have anything. This is not a space where we get EMF at all.
10.2. It went from 0 to 10.2.
Like, literally, you should not have anything in this space. I don't expect
It
anything.
didn't even creep in between. It just
Wow.
Popped. So we need a little fun.
All right. So,
Somebody's listening in,
yeah, apparently.
wanting to be heard.
Have you heard anything at all, by the way?
We need a little fun.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were being literal. Like that's
No.
what you were saying.
No, that's what it said.
So right here in this parking lot.
Well, we're actually going to expand out. I just
So
tell you
got
the
my
history of this
first,
location.
like, letter show up for a while, and it's today.
We're going to see if it spells out Amanda, because we're so close to Philadelphia Alley where we're going to get kind of a bleed over.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. So we're going to be talking first. Well, actually, let me tell you why all the ghost tours go over there. So again, smaller group, we can throw in some extra stuff, right? So every ghost tour stops across the street over at the other part of the cemetery. There's two different sides to the cemetery. If you're a native of Charleston, you get buried over there. So Eliza's husband and her nephew, Charles Pinckney and Charles Pinckney, are both buried across the street because they're from here. They were born here. This side's for everybody else. So the cemetery is literally on the other side of this ivy wall. Your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is buried over here. They actually shuffled his ass back and forth trying to figure out where the hell he was supposed to go. They thought he was from here, but he's not. He just lived here for a very long time. During the month of March, because he was born in March and died in March, we actually get quite a bit about Calhoun over here, and weird things, like things that he passed, things that he believed in, will pop up on spirit boxes all month long. It's crazy. They're over there because there's a sign right inside the gates that says, "There's no ghost here, but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for that sign. In 1888, a young lady passed away by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now, we talked about initials when we were over there talking about Ralph Isaacs. So initials mean something when you're ghost hunting because her initials show up all the time. SHH. Shh. It's corny, it's cheesy, I hate it. But SH even showed up on your Ouija board last night. We had just SH. We were waiting for the second one. It didn't show, but we still had it consecutively.
Yeah, sure.
She dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story. 1987, a local photographer is taking pictures of all of our beautiful cemeteries. He's putting a book together.
Is this
and
a
he
big
captures-
ghost tour?
This is a normal size ghost tour. This is why I won't go that much. I'm sure you guys are all appreciative right now. So.
I'm happy right now.
Loving every minute of it, to quote Bon Jovi.
The local photographer captures a full apparition in one of his photographs when he's developing them for himself. It's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now. And he sent it to Kodak to try to figure out what was going on with it. I don't think I have to explain what Kodak is to this group, so that's kind of nice. The teenagers always say, "Is that a bear?" I'm like, "No, that's a Kodiak." So, but anyway, Kodak can't figure out what the hell's going on with this photograph either.
Oh.
Yeah. Guys like me, this picture is gold. And the reason why I let them kind of have this is because it's their one show and tell. They show their groups what this picture looked like. I am going to show it to you, but I am going to warn all of you. It is cursed to females. So do not touch the tablet when I bring it out. In the event you're handling it, even in a digital format like a tablet
Dude,
or
I
phone,
totally believe that, and I'm not touching
hang on,
it.
let me get worse. Let me make it worse. So if you're handling it, same symptoms like what we talked about at Big John's: the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females that are handling it
Not a
probably,
problem.
are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn child in the story. I'm not going to be the guy where I have a couple on my tour, they had a great vacation, touched the tablet, and 9 months later I cursed their family. So again, you can understand why I give this heated warning. This is what my occupation is. I'm not just some tour guide.
So this
with
is
a
an
mohawk.
angry spirit.
I wouldn't say angry. It's because we do get a lot of things around her. She's very sad. She's emotional. If you notice, every spot we've been to hasn't been a scary place. It's been something of raised emotion.
Yeah.
So with Eliza, it's power. With whatever's going on in Lodge Alley, I can't find what it is, but there's a lot going on there because those people were poor. So that's definitely a deep emotion. Philadelphia Alley, that was obviously some passionate argument that went on between the two of them. And we're about to talk about pirates, who are probably the most passionate people that we would ever have seen in history.
Yeah.
So with Sue, it's emotion of sadness. It's always about the emotion. How, like, it's not a normal temperament like what we have right now. So let me show you this photograph. That way you guys can actually see why they're over there. I let them have it. My show and tell is the damn gadgets in your hands. So again, this is the perk of the tour, is everybody wants to come see my shit to see what it's actually legit. Over there, they're telling stories at around a campfire and showing you a picture. So again, I let them have their one big finale, and they drag out the story. So, full photograph.
We're lucky.
That's what it said.
Yeah,
We're
The
lucky.
apparition is right here.
Yeah.
You're looking at her shoulders, the top of her head, and the baby basket is right next to her. Most people miss the baby basket. If you zoom in even further on a computer screen, you can actually see the weaving of the basket. This is another instance where the baby is probably buried with the mother because they were stillborn. I don't even know the gender. I've been through the St. Philip's Church records, which is the church that they belong to. I can't find anything relative to the birth of this child. So, again, take all of that for what it's worth. I do my damn research, and right now I'm actually digging for where her, like Sue and her husband Gaston, where they lived. But those census records are missing due to a fire. So it's a matter of like really digging around, and it's going to be under Gaston's name, obviously, because of the time period. So it's 1888, so the census records for 1884 are missing.
Doctor. Follow the doctor.
Why would you say that?
Because they would have records of delivery of a stillborn.
But I don't know who the doctor was.
You can't find who the doctor who was here. Check the
There would have been
census
multiples.
records. Multiple doctors here in this town
I would say at least
attended women.
1800s, late 1800s.
I'd be a midwife.
Yeah.
A midwife.
I mean, I appreciate, like, I'm going to dive into it, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like, it might be a
Saying
rabbit
when
hole.
every dead end. That's the only one I can think of to pursue.
I'm going to say in the 1800s, late 1800s, probably at least 10 to 12 doctors.
Midwives wouldn't have kept records.
1 in 4 women die in childbirth. Midwife.
Back then,
But she didn't die during childbirth.
it was
Oh,
the fever
right.
because she didn't.
Right. It came out.
6 days
The
after.
puerperal fever is what they called it, I think. Because she didn't deliver all of the placenta.
Childbed fever.
Yes.
So,
Infection.
that's their story.
GI.
But yeah,
Bad
I'll see if I can find the doctors. And Dr.
But
Ladd would have
anyway.
not have been one of them because he was 100 years before that.
And it also depends on their class.
You getting anything?
The rich people got the rich doctors.
No.
Well, that was
The
the other
men.
piece of me trying to find out where she lived at.
Oh my God, is this
So-
how to spell Gina?
But here's the funny thing
G-I-N.
is I just said in my head, tell me if it was,
G-I-N-K.
I just said in my head, tell me if it was a female, and then the N came up.
No. So
Well,
it was a
N
male
has been
doctor.
showing up here on that device a lot, and it's relative in one of
Really?
3 ways. And I'm going to explain why. Let me get through this pirate story. It'll
Yeah.
start to make sense.
Okay.
So, what do you have now?
Fear.
Fear. We're here to discuss that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. That's the powder magazine. Held gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I've already mentioned, we can turn the turnbuckles, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up to keep it from damaging even further.
Oh, wow.
It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So, those earthquake bolts that it just doesn't work. And you guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town. It's part of our Charleston charm. They're normally in pineapples or lion heads or some fancy flower. So again, they're all over town.
Wait, I'm sorry. Show me where.
The crosses on the little
Crosses
building
on
over there.
everything.
The big, yeah.
That's nuts out.
So they have bolts on them in the center. So you take a giant wrench, and one
Oh,
person
you're
would turn
supposed to
one side, and the other
clear-
person would pull the other side.
Huh.
So basically, it's a turnbuckle in the middle of the roof. The reason I bring those up is because it's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. Why? This is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713.
Wow.
So we are here because this is what I call a familiar. This is the same time period that Anne Bonny came to this area to start her new life. Now, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Not at all. In her story, because of all of the many lovers and whatnot. So let's get into it. 1708, a young lady moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys with me so far? Okay, her name was Anne Cormack at the time, by the way, and that's her maiden name. So, what happens from there is they were running away from his wife. How pissed was she that they left Ireland to come here? Just saying. She's pretty angry.
Woman's form.
Right? They land in Georgetown. That's just north of here. Dad bought a plantation on a river, so it's probably a rice plantation, and Mom died pretty quickly. I don't have any records of how or why. But that means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation to keep things going. That's why we're here. We don't have any buildings this old. This is a familiar space. Not to mention, it's within the zone. You kind of get where I'm going with this. Now, with that said, back home in Ireland, Anne was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. So again, hardcore chick.
Sociopath.
Yeah, getting there. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked. She wants her freedom, just like a man. So she's going to fall in love with one of these pirates. Guy number 1. Yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's a handful. You probably already know this, most of this already. First guy is James Bonny. You can already see where this one's going because you already know it's Anne Bonny, right? But Dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married. Now she's Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. However, this guy's a privateer. He's not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy's a privateer and he's a spy for the British. So he's a coward in her eyes. So she falls in love again a few years
Not a
later.
real bad guy.
Right. This next guy is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. This is literally the person that they based the Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So this is the Captain Jack Sparrow she was hoping for, and he has his own ship and wants to be part of that ship. Can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck.
It is. It's
The
their bad luck.
only women is the front piece.
Yeah.
Off
But I
the
thought on
mast.
pirate ships it was much more equal, and there were other women pirates that
No.
were on ships.
Bad luck.
No women.
Ah,
No
no
women.
misogyny always everywhere.
So he makes a deal with her. If you want to be part of the pirate crew, you can dress like a guy, just like the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters.
So that was kind of like the movie where she dressed like a guy.
Which movie are you referring
Wow,
to?
what movie is that?
The Pirates of Caribbean. The
Oh.
chick, like
that whole
she,
thing. Well, yes and no.
Oh,
right? Yeah.
So,
that was Disney.
There was a point in there where she dressed like a guy.
well, all stories come from some truth.
Yeah,
so
true.
she's
Right.
incorrect in a way. So here's what happened from there. She's okay with this, by the way, because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. She was basically a boy apprentice in his attorney office. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, I'm a pirate, let's go. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female, and then they're going to vote Jack off the ship. So, because again, they voted their captains. They did have their own democracy. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over here, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no child. We have no idea what happened to this child. So there's no record anywhere. I've dug and dug and dug. Every book I've read, nothing says anything about the child. But she's dressed like a female, which makes Jack pretty angry. While she was away giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew down below deck. She's gonna go flirting with that pirate crew to make Jack even more mad, because that's who she is. Sociopath, like you said. So the guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So now we have two females, dressed like men, trying to be pirates. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain. Again, the LGBTQ community loves this story because of that fact. But Anne and Mary are obviously friends of some sort. The British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. Again, new pirates. Obviously, they're going to get taken. Two ladies are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack. She tells him, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog does show up on the spirit boxes quite often here. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. There's the second N. I'm the first. There is a third, I'll get to that, but it's not part of the story, it's just relative to the space. But Nicholas Laws wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly on their own after he's tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So they're dead and gone. The two ladies go in front, they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still gonna hang them because they're pirates. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they screamed out, hoping to save themselves because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720.
They get to have their baby and then die.
Right, so he delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail, but Dad is still here in Charleston and he hears what's going on. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries, husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed, and has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. That's all we know about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed. She dies a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Now, as far as that's concerned, most articles and resources will tell you that she died of fever, but I'm sure it was very scurvous and bumpy and gross and whatever that poor woman had to go through. We don't know if either pregnancy was true. Again, this is a weird space. I normally give you guys free reign to ask whatever the hell you want to ask, but I left out 2 things for certain that I can prove for fact. That's the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. The other piece is Calico Jack's ship. I know that one for certain as well. So again, you can ask either one of those 2 questions, but everything else is fair game. Before we start to get closer to the powder magazine and getting footage of the front of it and whatnot, I'm going to tell you another reason why I give that heated warning at the beginning. So back in September of last year, I brought my group back here. I'm going to tell them the whole story, but before I do, the kid next to me, he's about 21, 22. Yes, he's a kid to me. I'm sure he is to the rest of you
Sure.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he starts to drop. He's, like I said, white as a ghost, dropping like a wet noodle. I have to catch him by his armpit. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him. We get him over to that wall, because I know there's a ledge there. We're going to sit him down, get him a bottle of water, yada yada, you get it. So he's feeling better. I then tell the story I just told you. I send everybody out to go play with their devices one last trip, right? They pull me aside and say, Nick, we got to tell you, we are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males.
Oh my
just like Anna Mary
God.
in the story. On the tour. It made complete sense as to why one of them passed out as soon as we entered the space. And when I say like this kid started going white the minute we entered, it was the minute we entered. That guy was watching him, and that's how I was able to catch him. So that's why those are the uncanny things that I normally see. Like psychics and mediums normally don't even make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. Like,
Why is that powder magazine so important to those 2
Well,
women?
we'll find out.
It's familiar.
Okay.
So again, it's hit or miss. Anne Bonny's actually said to be seen all over town. We don't normally hear things, from Mary Read. It's a matter of Anne Bonny used to come down here quite often. There's not many buildings here this old, just because of the time period. Again, she came here in 1708. This was being built during that time, and it finished in 1713. She didn't leave here until 1715. So again, it was part of the original city. So the other interesting thing of where we are is we talked about those walls earlier. That garage, that's where the wall stood. So it went up past the powder magazine and started going south behind me to lock it into the corners. So nothing could hit it from the water. It's too far away. And even if it did, there's sand in the roof. It was put there during construction to go up with an explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder.
Wow.
So the sand is still there. It doesn't get hot enough here, and it's not being compressed to turn into glass. So they had to do some repairs on the roof before they turned it into the museum that we have it as now. But that was in the 1990s. So that sand is still there, intact. Sand doesn't disintegrate.
200 years later.
Yep. 300.
300 because 90s is when they. Wow.
So,
Alrighty.
again, very interesting space in general. We're here because, again, this is like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same principle.
Yeah.
So, we're going to get closer to that. We're going to kind of chill over there by the wall. Marla, if you want to get some footage of the front of the building, you can do that. Just don't interrupt the other tours.
Sure.
That's the only thing I ask.
So that serves as a museum now?
Yeah. It shows off the uniforms and the artillery that was used in the 7 wars that he served.
7 wars.
Including the Civil War and the French and Indian. Thinking. But you gotta remember they shuffled gunpowder. Just because it's the same time period doesn't mean that it served it.
Well, it's not the same time period. It started being built in 1713.
It's finished in something.
1713. So, Revolutionary War, 1774. Round number.
Okay.
French and Indian War, 1754.
I know that the gunpowder was here in the early 1750s for the French and Indian.
French and Indian.
But we had many.
Why not use it from 1713?
We shuffled that gunpowder so we couldn't find it. So we had many powder magazines here, and we had many powder magazines that were quite close. So they were using gunpowder. No, they were using it as spots. Actually, mercantile at one time, textile at another, attorney offices, like this building's been, I can't say.
I mean, how old is this wall?
The wall, I want to say, is based on the brickwork, because this wall actually belongs to the church. Where we're standing actually belongs to the giant church. So we're talking probably 1860s.
The mortar's been remortared, repointed.
Even if you look at this building back here, from a distance, you can see those are apartments back there. So that building, you can even see like the brickwork of where things would have changed.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like an extension for when it was a mercantile in between wars. So do you see like on the side of the building where it looks like a different rooftop?
And all the plumbing on the outside, because who wants to drill through all that brick?
Right. Not to mention it has earthquake bolts running on 2 corners of it.
Huh. Earthquake balls. That's funny. Since 1886.
Cool.
Makes sense. Wow. Cool.
But just looking at the brickwork, like that's my guesstimate. I wouldn't quote me on that. But yeah, where we're standing, this still, even that wall belongs to the church. The powder magazine plat of land is not very large at all. Oh, by the way, the third N is because of, on the other side of this building, is what we call the Nicholas Trott House. He was actually the first Chief Justice of the United States.
So this uses it as a church building at any point in time?
No,
Even though they own this property?
they own this property, not that one.
Not that one.
It stops
And
at
the
the wall.
wall.
that stops at the wall. Like plats of land here are very tight knit. Very tight.
Interesting.
So any other letters popping up out of there? Any
No.
words?
Plastic.
Yeah, I got nothing on plastic.
This has not popped since
Again, we don't normally see that. Go ahead and turn on the motion sensor. So that's the white button in the back.
Why is it
This is where
cold
it's going to
right
get
there?
interesting because normally the question I have the person using this
It's
focus
not
on
really,
right
because it's in the
It's not.
70s.
is the color of Anne Bonny's hair. So, the reason why that's interesting is to actually get a red reading like that means the vote actually cut the intent. Go ahead and reset it. The lock button. That's supposed to be 10.2. Does this say hold on there on the screen anywhere? It's okay, I can see it. Yeah, you have it on hold. You must have tapped something on the front. I'm going to guess that 10.2 came from somewhere else.
What was over there?
I was tripping the front.
Yeah. Those buttons, you start recording things, put the hold button on. You could do that to kind of get a baseline.
But I'm not supposed to.
And you want to show us your hair color by touching the antenna like you did last night? The kid using that thing last night had 3 reds in a row. Like,
Come on, Ann.
what color was your hair? Are you getting anything at
She
all
has
in
an
here?
attitude. She's not telling you.
Again, it's a hit or miss location. You're going to get a lot or nothing at all.
I feel ya.
Does she have white hair?
No,
I feel ya.
it's definitely red.
Sunday. Ghosts are taking their day of rest.
Well, again, we're only doing 40% of the work. The other 60% comes out of the data tomorrow. I want to see that whole word list.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's some sugar here.
We have the word resident while we were in Large Alley.
George.
What, tell me
George.
Is that the name?
Nope, that's not the father's name. I'm writing it down anyway.
It's not asking anything, just a
And you want to tell us what your father's name was, please? You know how all these little boxes work with the lights on them?
Come on, girlfriend.
Or your mother's name. Whatever you can grab. Did we hear back that Dorothy was okay too?
I didn't hear back anything yet.
It must be before we did Lori get back.
She just said she was getting into the Uber. I said, text me when you get back. And then I tucked it away because I didn't want to be rude.
We're right next to the powder magazine. They would have had guards on it. So a few months ago, spring break, I usually get a lot of psychics on this tour. I had a psychic who kept seeing a guard by that bush over there, kept saying, Nikki's not happy we're here. Every time you go over there, I guess it's not a good feeling. 2 weeks later, I had another psychic on the tour, walked right up to me and said, who is that over there by the bush wearing suspenders and a white shirt? It's the same description that the other psychic gave me. I'm like, awesome. We're pissing off some kind of guard ghost. You hearing anything?
Is that these days that you can do?
Traumatized and delivered? I don't know what that means.
You're hearing this word?
Yeah. You hear very few words and then something pops through.
back, and it's pretty common to hear it over here. It happens all the time. You guys start hearing it right around Philadelphia Alley as you start getting closer to the church.
But exorcism?
No,
That's
like
pretty
terms
hard
like
frickin'
no,
core.
not at all. Well, again, that one's garbage. Preacher, Bible, priest, pew, anything like that that's going to be relative to a church. Steeple. Can I take a look at your letters, Gina?
Yeah, go ahead.
See if I can anagram anything out of it.
Maybe.
We have all the letters for Twinkie.
Twinkie was Twinkie.
Just making a joke. See the word win. I don't see her. Are you hearing anything else on yours?
Right?
And you have no other numbers or colors showing up. I can't hear the colors coming up.
Nothing's popping right now.
Okay.
Anybody?
Taking a break.
Last call.
No, it says anyone?
Come on,
Anybody?
people.
19-year-old.
Sunday night. We're all tired. Sunday nighting.
I say we call it because you guys haven't given me anything. That's relevant.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was kind of hoping you guys would find more over here than what we did over at Tiffany. But we'll see what I capture in the morning. I'm going through your data.
I don't know that they like us very much.
Well, it's not so much that. It's going to be a matter of, because you guys got to remember, you've never touched these devices before. So listening to these
Before
things,
it's too late.
before it's too late.
Mine was, I had it on like hold.
When I find things in the data, I still rank everything so I kind of see where the more interesting nights are.
Constitutional right. Children. Running.
Now you get there. Do you want to know why you just heard constitutional right? Charles Pinckney that we talked about earlier that signed the Constitution is buried across the street.
No way. Craps. I got craps.
Is there gambling hall around here?
Talking about pirates.
Boom. Drop the mic.
It's like watching my grandkids.
Is that what you heard?
There's no one more.
That's because of the electrical pole in the corner.
That's normal?
Yes. It went up to about 5 or 7.
Oh, boom. It went from like nothing to spike.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the electrical pole. I'm excited about constitutional rights. Any other words on your end?
Just craps was last name.
What is it?
Craps.
Oh, that was one I didn't have to write down because of the. That was on the long.
Individual.
Marlo, you got anything going on there?
Mm-mm.
With your video in real time, I normally don't ask you a ton of questions
Mhm.
just because it's all about the review the next day.
We'll be soon coming.
I put that up on YouTube so that way you guys can watch it however you want.
Oh,
On
okay.
your TV, your tablets, whatever.
Okay.
Like even my computer screen when I'm reviewing it, like I have a pretty large computer screen, so that way I just kind of sit back, sip my coffee, and watch a movie. So
Yep.
it's gonna pop up out of there.
Yeah, because I'm sure I probably missed some things.
Yeah,
No,
every.
But I could tell you when I was in that area, like right there, I felt sick.
I definitely wanted to look at that spot where you saw that 56. Like that's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully that the recording is still all there.
Uh-huh.
Why is that significant? 56.
I mean, it was a
It's 20
big
degree
jump.
drop.
Oh, I see.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a major
Oh,
drop.
temperature.
Yeah.
Not especially when it's like 75 degrees out right now.
I mean, yeah, if I go up, right,
Actually,
then
you would
it's
know.
going to
You have
drop.
The temperature, the thermometer.
Oh, I can't read that.
But everything in this area is typically like around
Washington
anywhere from
Police,
69.
Providence.
What'd you
Words.
say?
Washington Police, Providence. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Providence could be Rhode Island or Providence.
They ain't never.
I do like that Providence. I don't know.
Yeah, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not necessarily Providence, but Providence.
Down in the Low
that
Country.
actually works.
That's we hear that all the time.
Down
Throw
in the
those
low
out. Anything
country.
that says the year, Charleston, and anything relative to our space like Low Country, I just throw it out. And the name Stokes, because Stokes owns every car lot in town. So you hear Stokes Honda, Stokes Kia, Stokes Ford, like you hear them all.
Yeah.
So again, the word Stokes is nothing. That one shows up all the time.
Providence, Providence.
Yeah, that's research needed.
Yeah,
I gotta dive into that.
that word can mean
So many things.
so many things. It can go in so many directions.
Well, isn't there a Providence down in the like Cuban islands down in that Caribbean area?
Isn't it the capital city of
Yeah, it could be. We're still in Philadelphia now. So then we go over here too. Right. So you gotta kind of see where that tide is based on what else on here, and then tie it into that. All right, ladies, let's start collecting.
All right.
This. I'm gonna take yours. What are you apologizing for? I told you we can't make the ghost do anything.
I don't know that they like me tonight.